Okay. Uh, I've got a little bit more interaction, so I'll be moving the mouse around to sort of show you different parts of the ore body and some of the aspects of the location of the mine and processing assets. A little bit of an overview. This is obviously Red Lake being the centre of the universe is much bigger than Thunder Bay and Toronto, but there we are parked up just in northwest Ontario. If you look at the green map on the side, the town of Red Lake is just down in this bottom corner. And the mouse doesn't work, so I'll use this one. And the main part of the Red Lake operation is centred around here in Barmertown. We've got the processing assets and the mining declines and shafts in that area. Key point for this slide is that the workforce, predominantly residential, approximately 10% First Nations employees, which is sort of generally in line with about the same number of First Nations residents in the Red Lake area. On the sustainability front, we have strong sustainability stewardship, continuing to meet or exceed our regulatory requirements. We've had no material environmental incidents, and we have an internal review board established for our tailing storage facilities. Evolution has a commitment to zero or net zero commitment. We're looking at and have in place battery electric vehicles, BEVs, included in our fleet, and I'll talk about those a little more shortly. We are, in terms of Evolution's carbon footprint, the smallest contributor to carbon emissions, due mostly to the hydroelectric power, and it really is a success story to be able to put in electric vehicles which truly do have a zero net carbon footprint. We have a strong working relationship with government and agencies, and a closure plan in place for Red Lake and the Bateman properties. The long-term partnership with First Nations and communities, the Laxal First Nation and Wabascung First Nation partners. Huge local community support. We spend about $11 million and Canadian annually with local businesses and First Nations. Our First Nation partners are active collaboration agreements, and we're currently modernising those at this time. And as I said earlier, Indigenous employees are about 10% of our workforce. You can see on the picture there's a fire truck up in the top right corner in recognition to the response to the forest fires which we had year before last, the Fire Red 49. Evolution Mining actually donated a new fire truck to the Barmertown Station number 1. The truck is a clone of the existing vehicles they have there. They've got 3 in service, and it's to enable the municipality to continue to train firefighters and use the same equipment no matter where they're needed. So a little bit more on the Evolution's commitment to our net zero emissions. This chart sort of shows the pathway from moving from where we are now in two key phases down to net zero in 2050. The Evolution has a commitment, or there is a growing commitment amongst world nations and businesses towards the net zero future. And there's an increased expectation from all stakeholders that action with a positive impact on achieving a net zero future is implemented. So as part of that future state, Evolution has undertaken purchase of electric vehicles. You would have seen when you walked in from the front gate, there's a Epiroc mine truck parked up at the gate. That's on its way to the mine, hopefully soon. We have other scoop trams. Actually, there's a whole bunch of names for these things, including scoops, underground loaders, muckers, and Australians love to call them boggers. But scoop trams is the commonly used phrase here. And we have 3 on site and this new mining truck about to come to site also. We're seeing they're cleaner, quieter, zero emissions, lower operating costs, and really good operator acceptance. The interesting thing is when you follow a truck up the mine or out of the decline now, they're quiet. There's no diesel particulates, and it's actually quite a pleasant experience to follow one of those out of the mine as opposed to the older style diesel trucks. So a little bit around the mining infrastructure now. Try and just give you a bit of a layout of how the operation works. If you look over to the left, there's the Koshner shaft. This is a service shaft. It doesn't bring ore to surface. Ore from the Koshner area or mining zone actually travels underground on a high-speed tram, which is an interesting name because it's fairly slow. But nevertheless, it travels 5.5 kilometres under the Red Lake Airport and runway. It's a diesel locomotive, and there is actually plans to look at converting that to electric as well. It comes to the Reed shaft, which is just here on the side of Barmertown. That all comes to surface there and can go into the Campbell or Red Lake mills. We now have the CYD, the Campbell Young Decline, and I'll talk a little bit and get into a bit more detail on this shortly. But that's to enable increased mining rates, which I'll talk about in a moment. We also have the Barmer number 3 shaft, which predominantly services the Red Lake underground workings, and I'll provide a bit more detail on that one too. If you can see just the processing assets, we've got the Bateman mill here, which is also beside the McFinley ore body, or Bateman ore body as some call it, and I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on that shortly. So if you look at the ore bodies, sort of from a side view, this is the, as I was saying, the Koshner ore body over here to the left. Looking currently about 3 to 4 years of production left in that part of the mining plan. There are, however, some exciting drilling that's been going on in that area, and there may be potential to extend that the life of that ore body further. That ore, as I said, comes across on the high-speed tram over to the Reed shaft and then comes to surface. The big blue area there is the Campbell and Upper Campbell ore body. To the right is the Red Lake ore body with those 2 shafts. So what are we trying to do for Red Lake? The vision, the pathway, the journey. It's all about when Evolution bought this property, they had a clear vision for Red Lake and why we acquired it. We're working hard to put in the right people in the right roles, and part of why we're here today is also to look at recruiting people into the organisation. I'm sure everyone, we're not alone. It's a very difficult market at the moment to get technical roles. So if you're looking for employment opportunities, come and see us over in the at our stand over in the Heritage Building and have a chat to Jeanette. She'll be more than happy to talk about those opportunities. There's been a few leadership changes, and that's not around whether it's Canadian or Australian-based leadership team. It's actually about getting the right people in the right roles. There's been a lot of work to get our leadership team on site established, and I think we've got it right now. We are looking at increasing production in mining and milling, which has a benefit of reducing our costs. There's more tonnes and ounces to spread your your operating costs across, and growth to support a long life at the mine. We have a clear pathway to 300,000 ounce per annum plus. We're increasing our mining rates. We have multiple mining areas now and higher grade from the Upper Campbell deposit. So I'll just jump into that in a little bit more detail. So on the screen there, we've got sort of a side view of the Upper Campbell deposit. The grey areas are mined areas that have already been mined. The green is the future FY sort of 27 plus areas, and you can see the other colours by the arrows below. Look, the key thing about this is we're targeting high grade zones in the top part of that picture. We've got a decline that we've started from both surface and underground. So we've started from surface and gone down to 14 level, and now working our way up, and those two parts of that decline will actually join in the middle. And what that does for us is be able to increase our mining rates substantially, and hence why we have an opportunity now to put in more or grow our processing infrastructure and increase production for the site. So a little bit more detail on that processing infrastructure, which is sort of why I'm here in Canada. We have the Campbell Mill, which has an existing capacity of about 0.8 million tonnes per annum. The Red Lake Mill, which is about 0.35, and the Bateman, which is currently being built at 0.45, but is expandable to about 1 million tonne per annum. The opportunity that we see before us is to actually look at what we've got and optimise the processing assets across the business. One of the key considerations for growing Bateman is if you look at where predominantly the ore will be coming to surface over the next 10 years, it's quite a substantial distance, about 15 kilometres out to Bateman. So that would require overland transport of ore to that facility and piping of tailings back to the Red Lake tailing facility. We don't intend to deposit tailings out at Bateman. There's about 2 years of tailings storage out there at site at the moment, but the long-term strategy is actually to centralise all our tailings facilities in the existing Red Lake TSF tailing storage facility. So when the property was purchased, when Evolution came in, there was approximately, or was operating at about just under 1 million tonnes, 0.9. Through operational improvement and some additional effort in the operation, we've got it up to 1.1, and this mill optimisation study is really about taking it to the next step, up to about 1.8 million tonnes per annum. So, we want to develop a clear strategy, optimise and rationalise the site processing infrastructure. We'll undertake, trade-off studies to look at where we best place infrastructure, what we do with our existing assets to really optimise the site, reduce our costs, and spend capital money in the right place to deliver on our 1.8 million tonne target. I guess the exciting thing is, we're a rare thing in this industry. We actually have multiple options to expand our milling rates, which is, a pretty good place to be in. We have a clear pathway to our 300,000 ounce plus target per annum. We're looking to reduce costs, and we have exciting growth upside. With the real aim is returning Red Lake to a premier Canadian gold operation.